Our mum, in her infinite wisdom, got us a puppy that was a cross between a German shepherd, a red setter, and a werewolf. We named her Lizzie, in tribute to Queen Elizabeth's Silver Jubilee. Believe me, there was nothing queen-like about our Lizzie. Left alone, mum out at work, me and the brothers at school, Lizzie would shred the furniture. Mum's solution was to lock Lizzie in the garden shed. One day, I was dragging her into the shed by a short leash, and my brother Tim gave her a sharp whump on the butt. I turned to run. I was quick, but Lizzie was quicker. Assuming it was me who'd whacked her, she took a huge bite out of my back. Nice one, Tim. Lizzie wasn't just a psycho dog. She had a thirst for revenge. Next day, me and my mates were playing Subbuteo, the table football game. Lizzie leapt up, grabbed one of the players, and fled behind the TV in the corner. There, she growled and snapped at us as we tried to retrieve the player. She chewed it up and spat out the arms and legs. 15 minutes later, she did it again. By the end of the game, she'd murdered 4 players. Mum tried to train the dog the same way she trained us, by whacking her with a slipper. It wasn't helpful. This dog would not be cowed. Despite this, me and Lizzie used to play wrestle. So when I had to crawl under the TV and face her snapping fangs, I already knew the moves. Wrenching her jaws apart to release what she'd stolen, jamming my forearm in so she couldn't snap at the rest of me, grabbing her tail, then gripping the scruff of her neck and putting her in a headlock. She'd have your fingers off in a snap if you gave her half the chance. But most of the time, we got on just fine. Nevertheless, like me and my brothers, Lizzie grew more resentful, more angry. If she got chance to slip from her chain, she'd seize the opportunity in both jaws to wreak havoc on the street. One Sunday afternoon, she bounded away and forced her way into an elderly couple's garden, the most uptight, ill-tempered, la-di-da, tea and biscuits type in the whole street. "Lizzie! Lizzie!" I tried, but failed to get a grip on her tail as she bolted through Mr. and Mrs. Tea and Biscuit's back door, through their kitchen and into the living room where they were sitting in their lacy armchairs watching Antiques Roadshow, enjoying their Garibaldi's. Oh my God! It was that dirty, rabid Tasane beast and his dog. Lizzie snarled at them, snapped at me, and ran behind their posh colour TV where she took her defensive position. "I'm so very sorry." I tried to remember my manners, just as Mum had beaten into me. I thrust my clenched fists at the dog's snapping fangs. "Lizzie, bad dog! Lizzie, bad dog, bad!" Eventually, I gripped the scruff of her neck and half-dragged, half-carried her out, leaving the poor couple to enjoy their Sunday afternoon tea and TV. "Sorry about that. Won't happen again." Throughout this, our dear neighbours uttered not a word. They sat with their teacups frozen halfway to their lips. "You bleeping bleeper," I muttered, dragging Lizzie back to ours. She gave me a wild-eyed, sidelong glance that said, "You needn't think this is over." It wasn't. A week later, Lizzie got me where it hurts. In the heart. I'd fallen in love. In fact, I'd fallen in love with a girl who was the closest thing our school had to royalty. Jane. Everybody adored Jane. Good-looking, clever, charming, and blonde. I was unwashed, foul-mouthed council house scum. She was a well-spoken, posh girl whose father owned acres of land and was naturally presumed to be preparing for her place at Oxford Uni. But change was on my side. I'd got a nice normal haircut, as opposed to the flowing locks that earned me the nickname Gloria, and cleared up the terrible zits due to the unhealthiest diet ever that earned me the nickname Scab. And I had new teeth. More accurately, I had dentures. My unhealthy diet and lack of brushing had caused rotting so severe my teeth were streaked with green decay. I'd learnt never to smile. If I smiled, it'd be met with "Eeeh!" I kept my lips zipped. Eventually, the rot got so bad I had 6 teeth pulled and replaced with a denture plate. The day after, I learned how to smile. Plus, having discovered girls, I was now having a bath more often than the once a fortnight my mother had previously insisted on. Suddenly, I wasn't such a bad-looking boy. I was blonde, blue-eyed, slim, with a cute dimple when I smiled. And I smelled better. Still, I spent weeks building up the courage to ask out the adorable Jane. The night before the big ask, I was on my way up to bed. "Hold on," Mum called from her chair. "Pop your teeth on the table. I'll give them an overnight soak." I slipped the denture plate from my mouth and plonked it on the living room table. "Nighty-night." In a split second, Lizzie leapt up and snatched the teeth. "No!" I lunged. "Drop! Drop!" But she was already halfway behind the telly. She snarled and chewed and snarled and chewed and spat out what was left. A jagged pile of bits of broken teeth. She briefly glanced down at the result before fixing her eyes back on mine. "Told you it wasn't over, didn't I?" Lizzie somehow knew I needed my teeth to smile at Princess Jane the next day. With my newfound smile shattered, I never did ask Jane out for a date. Bleeping Lizzie. We should have named the big hairy bleeper Satan.